Hey Borderlands fans, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 builds video. Today we are going to be taking a look at Moze the Gunner and working on a couple of Allegiance builds. And now I say a couple, they're going to have the same core build, but as we get into the end, I will start to show you where I would make deviations to accommodate each loyalty. Now, as always, remember to give this video a big old thumbs up and share it with your friends. Additionally, if you are looking to fiddle around with these skill trees yourself or want to sign up for the Borderlands VIP program, I will have a link in the description below. Now, let's get started. The first skill that we're going to pick up today is the match set skill. What this is going to do for us is increase our magazine based on every piece of equipped gear that has a matching manufacturer. Now, because we're doing an Allegiance run, everything should have the same matching manufacturer, so we should be seeing at least a 50% to probably up to 80% increase on our magazine size. So if we're using a Vladof weapon that has, say, 50 rounds in its magazine, it now will have 90. So that's a significant increase. The next skill that we're going to grab is Cloud of Lead. Because we are going to be doing lots and lots of damage and shooting lots and lots of ammo, it would be nice to also have to reload less often. What this is going to do for us is allow every fourth shot to not consume ammo. In addition to this benefit, we are also going to be dealing incendiary damage, which is nice. It's a nice little touch. We're now going to move on down to the redistribution skill. This is going to be a nice little skill that's going to help us to have some ammo regeneration pretty much all the time, provided that we can continually score crits. We're going to move down now to the Scorching RPM skill. What this is going to do for us is increase our fire rate by about 15% and up our critical hit damage. We then are going to grab the Iron Bank skill, which is going to increase our magazine size by another 35%. Now, if we were using a Torgue weapon, hypothetically, and had 10 bullets in that magazine, we now would have roughly 22, 23 bullets in our magazine. So that's huge. Now we're going to move on to our last skill for this segment of the build, Some for the Road. What this is going to do is give us infinite ammo for a few seconds after exiting Iron Bear. So, Iron Bear is not totally essential to this build, but we are going to want to be getting into him as often as possible so that we can gain this benefit. To further the idea of getting an Iron Bear as often as possible, we're going to move over to the Demolition Woman tree, where we are going to grab 5 points of the Grizzled skill. What this is going to do is give us a kill skill, and each time we kill an enemy, we will get a little bit closer to being able to use our action skill again. We're now going to move over to the Fire in the Skag Den skill, which is going to allow us to deal some bonus incendiary damage each time we deal some splash damage. While not every manufacturer is going to grant splash damage, every grenade will. With this in mind, we're going to move down to Means of Destruction, which is going to give us a little bit more ammo regen and some grenade regen, provided that we're doing some splash damage. And on the topic of grenades, we're going to move down to Pull the Holy Pin, where we are going to get a 30% chance to crit with our grenades. With the core build done, we're going to start to worry a little bit more about our action skills before we continue. The first thing I'm going to do is equip the Salamander to both of our action skill slots and equip the Molten Roar ability to each of the augments. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I have mentioned we want to be getting this Some for the Road skill to proc as often as possible. So we are going to be getting into our Iron Bear, dealing a whole bunch of damage really fast and then hopping out and then having infinite ammo. But we want to be doing as much damage as possible each time that we get into the Iron Bear. So the first Allegiance that we're going to look at is Vladof, as that is the most obvious one for Moze. What we're going to do is we're going to pick up Stoke the Embers skill, which is going to give us 30% more incendiary damage on 1 in every 4 shots that are going to be getting that incendiary damage proc. Also, we're going to be getting the incendiary damage from Fire in the Skag Den, because Vladof weapons have like the underbarrel attachments that will shoot grenades or rocket launchers or whatever in this game. We're then going to pick up the Russian Offensive skill, which is going to give us the ability to sprint and shoot, an ability that I think we've all wanted for a really long time. And now, because we are doubling up on the weapons the Iron Bear are using, we're going to just increase their damage a little bit more, because that's easy and nice. Now, with Vladof weapons, I anticipate that we will be firing faster than our magazine is regenerating. So I'm going to suggest that we pick up the Click Click skill, so that while we are in this middle area of our magazine, hopefully low to middle, we will get an increased amount of gun damage. And then we're going to pick up Constant Ammo Regeneration, because as we are just mowing through enemies, we're going to also be draining through ammo, and a passive 5% of our ammo regen. Again, if we had like a base 50 magazine, we'd then be up to 90 plus another 35% of 50. So we're looking at about 120 for our magazine, and 5% of that is roughly 6 ammo per second. So I don't know how fast we're going to be firing, but we're going to be pretty much at full magazine all the time, if I'm not wrong. And with our last skill point, I'm going to say let's just pick up one more grenade, because really there's no harm in that, and it's always nice to have. And here is our Vladof build. Now that we're done with that, let's start talking about the Torgue allegiance for a second. So, while we are sitting here in the Demolition Women tree, we're going to pick up, obviously, the Torgue cross promotion. What this is going to do is give us the chance to double our splash damage in size. This is a super nifty skill when it comes to Torgue weapons, as all of them deal splash damage. We also are going to want to come back over to this skill tree here, because our splash damage is going to be dealing incendiary damage. We're going to pick up 3 points here. We're going to take the run and gun skill again, and obviously we'll take forge to regenerate ammo. Because when we're using the sticky projectiles, we'll want to be reloading fairly regularly. We're probably not going to want the click-click skill, because we'll be staying towards the higher side of magazines. If we didn't want to take the Torgue cross promotion skill, we could pick up more grenades here, or give our grenade some lifesteal, both of which are a viable option. Now we're going to talk about the allegiance that I had the hardest time figuring out where I wanted the build to go. We're going to talk about a Tediore allegiance, and I think Tediore will combo really well with the increased magazine size skills and with some of the splash damage abilities, as the Tediore reload does damage based on the amount of ammo left in our magazine. Now I think this build is going to be very reliant on the ability to proc this infinite ammo skill, so what I'm going to do regarding that is pick up as many points of Torgue cross promotion needed to get down to this explosive punctuation skill. Now, grabbing the explosive punctuation skill, what this is going to do is allow us to have an increased action skill cooldown rate when we deal splash damage. Because Tediore reload should deal splash damage, we should pretty much always be able to get back into Iron Bear using our weapon and then grabbing the Sum for the Road as soon as we get out. Now, because we are going to be so reliant on Iron Bear in this build again, I am going to grab the Specialist Bear skill, giving us an increase by 25% to all of Iron Bear's damage. The last allegiance that we are going to talk about today is the Children of the Vault. Now, this build is going to look very similar to that of the Vladof build, because they are also extremely high rate of fire weapons. Because of this, I'm going to pretty much just fill in the rest of this skill tree, making it so that we can get as much ammo out onto the field as often as possible, but at the same time not run out of it. And with our last point, we're just going to come over again and grab one grenade. This looks pretty much the exact same as the Vladof build. If there were any changes that I would make to this build potentially, it's that I would take these 5 points out of the Iron Bank skill and move them over to Scrappy if we were playing Children of the Vault allegiance. This is only because of the fact that they don't rely on magazine size. I just am wondering if this will mean that they can fire more weapons before they overheat. So we will have to see how this plays when the game comes out. If you want to stick around and see me try all of these builds, go ahead and subscribe, as I will be doing a tested build video for each build that I have made so far. One more thing, as I mentioned yesterday, I do have playlists that should have gone live today. They are character specific, meaning that there should be 3 builds in each playlist. This will allow you to kind of go over each of your options for one character, or this will allow you to maybe send one to your friends based on who they're playing, giving them a little bit of perspective on how they might want to play. I know this video is a little bit longer, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it just as much as any other, and I will see you next week.